With great respect, we bring Mike Davis to the airwaves. I'll tell you, when we post a conversation with Mike, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of you that jump on board and listen to what Mike has to say. He's the founder of Article 3 Project, former law clerk for Justice Neil Gorsuch, and former chief counsel for nominations for the U.S. Senate Committee on the Judiciary. The man knows what he is talking about. Mike, welcome back to the show. Thank you for taking the time, sir.
Thank you for having me back on, Joe.
Well, Mike, tell us about this article that we will re-X out immediately. Why surrender is not an option for ICE's Minnesota mission, sir.
Yeah, I think that we are learning that these Democrat politicians in Minnesota, like Minnesota Governor Tim Fontaine, Attorney General Keith Ellison, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey, the Lieutenant Governor who's a nut job, we are learning that they are the modern-day Confederates because they oppose what we the people and our duly elected members of Congress have enacted decades ago, which are our immigration laws that decide who we the people, exercising our most sovereign power to control our borders and to control our populace, what we the people have decided, who gets to come, who gets to go. That is the most crucial sovereign power a country has. We the people have that sovereign power. We've lent that to Congress to manage that sovereign power for us. And there was an election over this. President Trump won this last election in big part because of immigration, because Biden let in over 10 million illegals that have flooded into our country, including the most dangerous criminals around the world, the biggest fraudsters like the Somali fraudsters. And President Trump he won 312 electoral votes, all 7 swing states. The popular vote, he won the House. He kept the House. He won a comfortable margin in the Senate. He has a broad electoral mandate to lead. These Democrat activists, plaintiffs, attorneys, judges try to sabotage him through the courts. The Supreme Court finally largely stopped that, and now these Democrats, led by Democrat politicians like Tim Walz and Ellison and Frey, and I don't even remember the crazy lady who's the lieutenant governor, Peggy Flanagan, maybe. They are inciting violence against federal law enforcement executing federal law. That is textbook insurrection. That is textbook seditious conspiracy, and we cannot back down to this. We cannot back down to this Somali fraud with billions and billions of dollars. Obviously, these Minnesota Democrat politicians are benefiting from this massive fraud to their constituents, their key constituency with their IQs, subhuman IQs. It's just unbelievable to me that these Democrat politicians think they can get away with this, and they can't. And they can't because we cannot back down. We need to redouble our efforts. And it's true to point, Mike Davis, that the Walz rhetoric and Keith I can't believe Keith Ellison is like Attorney General of Minnesota. How did he end up there, for crying out loud? And this Jacob Frey guy being bullied by immigrants that have come in, and he's just catering and kowtowing to them. I mean, and the rhetoric has been terrible. And I just thought that Donald Trump, when he went, all right, the Walz called, I'm going to take the call, I'm going to talk to Frey, and tried to lower the rhetoric, and then sent Tom Homan out. But to your point, I don't understand. These are paid, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, because you do your homework and you know this. We do our homework too, but you always seem to know more, man. So let me tell you something. These are paid insurrectionists, and they are an army. And where's the money? Kash Patel is there. Pam Bondi is there. Are we going to find out who these people are? The way that I always said 2 weeks ago, Mike Davis, I said, show who we're arresting. And sure enough, there's an echo effect on our program where people will listen. They go, yeah, let's show. So they start showing all these pedophiles and sex offenders and human traffickers, the dreck of mankind in Minnesota, and we're getting them out, But maybe now, what else could we do to get the word out, so you got to get across to these useful idiots that are protesting mindlessly. It gets me, you're speaking the truth, I'm speaking the truth, but goodness gracious, some of these people that are protesting are useful idiots and getting themselves killed in the interim.
But I think the fight is just, and I think it'll go on. I think just the way it's happening now, the way Donald Trump is trying to talk to Walz, trying to talk to Jacob Fry, it has toned down the rhetoric. But are you feeling that we still just should go on as business as usual, taking down the bad guys, Mike? Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, and you and I know President Trump, and you know how smart he is. The art of the deal. He is.
Yep.
He is giving Tim Walz and Jacob Fry and Peggy Flanagan and Keith Ellison. President Trump is giving them a graceful out on this, but these lunatics are not going to take it. They can't. There's too much money and power at stake, and that's what this immigration fight is all about. The Democrats are trying to mass import and replace voters in America with third world voters, because those third world voters are going to give Democrats more House seats in redistricting, and these third world immigrants are going to vote for Democrats, right? And that is why the Democrats are mass importing these third world immigrants, the illegals, because it's about money and power. Tim Walz, Jacob Fry, Peggy Flanagan, Keith Ellison, they have too much on the line. They cannot afford to let the American people win here by expelling these illegal aliens in Minnesota. And I would just say this, Joe, as someone from Iowa, I can say this about my neighbors to the north in Minnesota.
Yeah.
How stupid are these Minnesota Democrats that they elect these politicians, and these politicians allow people with IQs of 60 come in and take billions and billions and billions of dollars from them with fraud, with a Somali fraud. How dumb are Minnesota Democrats to allow Somalians to dupe them?
I am shocked, just shocked, because then apparently it's not only in Minnesota, but it's in Maine and it's in California. I can't wait till we find out what's happening in New York. But and again, back to my original point, do you think Kash Patel's gonna? I want to see a name. I want to see names. I want to, like this guy Singh from Beijing. I think that's his last name, whatever his name is. He lives in Beijing, and he has funded. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I found the guy's name, and he funds a lot of these things. Are we going to find who's funding it? Are we going to see these guys in handcuffs? Will Kash and Pam Bondi have a dual press conference saying, here's the people who are funding this, these people are paid, here's the receipts? I mean, if we ever saw that, that's got to go a long way. Do you think we'll ever see that, Mike Davis?
Yes, because I know that Trump's Justice Department team is bold and fearless. And I've been their biggest defenders because I work with them every day, and I see it. I know that you saw this just yesterday where Pam Bondi flew out there, Kash Patel is out there, Harmeet Dillon's out there, Todd Blanche is the Deputy Attorney General. They are arresting people, right? They are fighting Democrat judges in Minnesota, and then these sellout fake Republican rhino judges, they are arresting people and they're getting obstructed, and they're fighting hard. Think about this. After January 6th, the Biden Justice Department spent 4 years chasing down every grandma who trespassed and took selfies in the Capitol.
That's right.
If they could do those for people who trespassed and took selfies in the Capitol, every grandma and goofball on January 6th, we can certainly go round up the most dangerous illegal aliens on the planet, and the biggest fraudsters, the Somali fraudsters who have looted, these pirates who have looted billions of dollars from Minnesota. It's really from the federal government, too, because we subsidize that through these federal programs like Medicaid, Medicare, education programs, where we have these Somali leering centers. Again, how dumb are Minnesota Democrats? You have Somali leering centers as the sign, and you're going to let these Somali pirates loot billions of dollars from Minnesota's budget, from the federal budget, because the Minnesota Democrats are that stupid? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's right on the money. And Mike, while we have you, before we let you go, this federal judge blocking DHS from arresting, detaining refugees in Minnesota, U.S. District Judge, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, John Thunheim, told the Trump administration the arrest did not make sense because none of them were charged with grounds for removal. He ordered the immediate release of the detained and arrested refugees. Mike.
But you can't do, like, these Article 3 judges do not have the jurisdiction. They do not have the power to do this. This is for immigration judges and immigration courts because we, the people, never gave up that sovereign power to control our border and our populace. Again, the most crucial sovereign power we have is controlling our border and populace as we, the people. And we have loaned that power to Congress. Congress, decades ago, passed legislation to say who gets to come and who must go. And the president has a constitutional and statutory duty to enforce federal laws. So these activist judges need to get the hell out of the way.
Oh man! And how we doing, Mike? We gotta let you go, but how we doing with the replacement during the Trump judges? Are we getting that? You said there were about 57 that we're trying to get in. Are we pushing those? Is that happening in the background that we just don't know about? Replacing all these errant judges, sir?
Yes, President Trump is building on his biggest and most consequential accomplishment of his first term by transforming the Supreme Court and the lower federal courts, particularly the courts of appeals, the crucial courts of appeals, to the first constitutionalist majority in 90 years. These judges can frustrate us from time to time, but overall, this is a very consequential Trump Supreme Court, and he's going to build on that. He's already building on that in his second term. President Trump has a great team with Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, White House Counsel David Warrington, Pam Bondi, my buddy Steve Kenny, the Deputy White House Counsel for Nominations, who's doing the day-to-day worker bee stuff on these nominations. They're firing on all cylinders.
Wow. We just reacted the article from Mike Davis, and Mike, appreciate it. And don't lose sight as you listen to Mike Davis and Piscopo on the radio. Don't lose sight of this. Mike said it right, and it's right on the money. There's a reason for all of this. There's a reason. There's a concerted effort, and that's just to get votes. They just want votes. That's why there was the invasion in the last 4 years, and that's what's happening in Minnesota. It's all about votes, power, and control. Mike, keep up the awesome work, man. Proud to have you on the radio with us, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, sir. Mike Davis right there, founder of the Article 3 Project.